Accept the reality of who you are and accept the reality of who others are. I believe another way that people try to also say this is, when people show you who they are, believe them. Or is it when people show you who they are the first time, believe them? This is not being said in a judgmental tone. This is me imparting wisdom or sharing wisdom with whoever it's meant to go to or to be shared to, whoever resonates with this message. It's also wisdom that I had to learn the hard way for a long time. A wisdom that I paid the consequence for. And this can be applied to anybody. You can apply this to yourself. You can apply this to family, friends, loved ones, co-workers, employees, whoever. It doesn't matter. The title of the person does not matter at all in this message. We are all souls. And so this message goes for any and all who it's meant to go to. Now, I'll say this. We create stories in our head of who we think people are. For better or for worse. We create a story or a narrative that we either believe from our own projected wounds or an idealization of them that, again, I'll explain, but it comes from us, okay? It's easier to understand this from a perspective of someone who is either jealous of you, envious of you, wishes bad on you, whatever. They try to project those inner wounds that they have that they're not dealing with onto someone else. But it's a projection, which means it's just a mirror of the person it's coming from. It has nothing to do with the person they're talking about at all. What if I told you the same thing applies with inspiration? The same thing applies with idealization. Idealizing someone, seeing their potential or seeing something in them that they don't see, or you get the point. Yes, I'm also talking to fixers, people who like to fix people, save people, help them grow, whatever. And this is very different from someone inspiring someone, but then the person who is inspired takes inspired action that still aligns with who they are. I'm not talking about that. That is not what I'm talking about. That is actually beautiful, because the person being inspired and taking inspired action that aligns with their authenticity, that is a growth that person is willingly and intentionally partaking in and choosing to be better. Okay? This is not, for example, you trying to change someone. Okay? It's very different. And it's you seeing the potential in someone else or wanting them to change. That is actually a projection of something within yourself that is waiting to be actualized, or maybe I see the potential in this person, or what they could be, is actually a form of looking at yourself in the mirror as like if you were in their shoes, okay? And what you would do. You're just not seeing it because you really actually think it's them, or you're hoping it's them, but it's actually you that you're looking at in their shoes, okay? And this can put a lot of people into trouble, because it's easier to explain in that terms as well when someone's being jealous, envious, etc., talking shit about you, which is just a projection of their own inner wounds that for some reason you just come along and you're a mirror, whether you're trying to be or not. They view you as a mirror to things that they are hiding about themselves or haven't yet accepted about themselves. Again, going back to not accepting the reality of oneself. And so that can spring about some things, including projecting onto others what you're hiding about yourself. It comes in the form of jealousy, envy, talking shit. Who does she think she is? Who does he think he is? Etc., etc. Or minimizing good things that are happening in your life, or belittling you, or etc. Okay? I think that's pretty self-explanatory on consequence part, okay? But there's also consequences on the other end of it too. When you idealize people and you create this wonderful narrative that doesn't actually match with who's actually in front of you and the patterns that they have committed to, right? And it's not to say whether or not they're good or bad because they didn't match what you thought of them. No, what you thought of them is just a reflection of you. The same way these jealous and envious people, what they think of other people is actually just a projection of them, of something going on within them that they're not seeing. Same goes for when you idealize people, or I see the potential in you, or whatever it is. It's like that is a projection of something within you that could be waiting to be actualized, like a potential in you waiting to be actualized, or you're just projecting onto them what you would actually do in their shoes and hoping that they would do it. But at the end of the day, it's just a mirror. And that makes it very easy for people to get hurt in that situation, because again, the title of the interpersonal relationship does not matter in this context, because it can happen across all interpersonal or professional relationships, okay? But especially it just hits a little more at home when it's an interpersonal relationship of any sort. But when you are in a relationship with someone, an interpersonal relationship, it doesn't have to be intimate, it could be platonic, it doesn't matter what the title is, and you're idealizing this person, you're setting yourself up to get hurt, okay? Because that person living up to these beautiful things that you have in your head about them is, it has nothing to do with their journey at all. It doesn't. You can see the God in them, but if they don't see it, and on their journey it's not their time to see it, they're not going to see it, which means they're committing to the current patterns that they have, regardless of what you see in your head for them. And it could be, again, all sunshine and rainbows and all these great things and the highest good for them, but it's not, that has nothing to do with their journey. Also speak from experience, because I've seen the potential in people, and when they show over and over and over that they are more committed to the karmic cycles that they are on, to the patterns that they hold on so dearly, okay, that they hold on to very, very dearly, even though it's clearly not working for them. It's like from a healthy standpoint I speak of, because the brain's not going to let go when it feels like it's serving you in some way, even if it's harming you. But regardless of what they're doing, it's our idealization of the person that actually ends up hurting us, because we didn't see who they really are. Or we did, because I also speak for myself here. I'm part of the people I'm speaking to. I, for example, was one of the ones that did see who this person is. I saw who this person is, or who these people are. And I chose to deliberately override that for my idealistic, I can help you change and I can help you rise, and here are 1,000,001 solutions to your issue, and let's help you rise above this type of thing. And it's like, what ends up happening is that the person who can relate more to my end of it ends up giving or over giving, weaker boundaries, even in some cases, enmeshment, while the other person purely benefits off of you doing all the inner work that they're not going to do. And then you end up drained because here you are over giving, overdoing it when this person won't even put an ounce of effort into themselves. There's a song that I really, really like, that says a lot of the wisdom that I also learned and refined within myself. The song is called No Expectations by a artist who's called Shift to Abundance. And she says this in the song. This is actually what she's talking about too. But in the song, she states in one of the lyrics, you don't get hurt by what they do, you get hurt by the story in your mind. And that's not to excuse people who are okay with hurting other people, who are causing hurtful impacts on others. It's not to excuse them, because there's never an excuse for that, and they should always be held accountable, okay? And in some cases, for you to walk away and do what's best for you. So I'm not saying they shouldn't be accountable. Everyone should always be accountable to their actions and their impacts, their behaviors, etc., etc., etc. What I am saying, though, is it's also the story in your mind, okay? The story in your mind, when it doesn't line up with the reality of who they are, can also hurt you. So it's important to see people for who they truly are. It's important to learn and refine your skills for pattern recognition. I would say at this point, from those relationships, my pattern recognition is sharp. It's so sharp at this point. I can see shit from a mile away. And it's because of always doing that, always riding that cycle of like, I'm going to help you. And then always seeing the pattern, and then finally just stepping back and just seeing the patterns for what they really are over a long period of time, and seeing that the whole time it was me that was denying it. It wasn't, it was just me. It was the story that I had in my head. Even the story I had in my head was so beautiful. Beautiful story in my head of where me and this person or these people that I had to let go of, where I thought we would end up in life. Such a beautiful connection with depth and love. And that was my story that I was projecting onto this person. This person the whole time has been showing over and over, they don't have the capacity to meet me that deep. They don't have the capacity to even meet themselves that deep because they haven't done any inner work. So they can't have the capacity. And this takes me right back to the quote, another one that I learned a lot, is that people can only meet you as far as they've met themselves. So do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor. Believe them the first time. And learn to distinguish the difference between your projections onto other people as actual mirrors of something within you. Like, it's one thing if you can, when you get to a point of separating yourself and becoming the observer of and creating a deeper awareness in you, so where you can see the difference between who this person is in their journey and who you are in yours, and learn to check yourself on what you think you see in that person versus it just being a mirror to something within you that is trying to get your attention or just communicate to you about something about you. We really can see people for who they are. But you also have to have discernment and self-awareness on a deep level to where whatever you're feeling or seeing in the moment, to not just jump and be emotionally impulsive or immature about it, and to have this almost like a checkpoint with yourself. Like, where is that coming from? Is that coming from me, or is this something I'm really seeing and observing in this person separately? If it's something within you, then you get to work on on that part with you. See what it's trying to tell you. Extract the wisdom from it. Extract the lesson. If it is something with them, then reality is just asking you to also see and accept this person for who they are. Accept does not mean access. It just means you're not going to be delusional and tell yourself a whole nother story than what the person is actually showing you. Accept the reality of who they are. And then from there, with healthy boundaries and discernment and pattern recognition, you'll know where to place this person in your life, if at all. Apply wisdom to your decisions. Take responsibility where it's applicable, and where you're not responsible for, which is any of their patterns, their energy, their decisions, what they say and do, how they behave, their perceptions that they want to hold about themselves and others. That none of that has anything to do with you. It's not your responsibility. Let it go. Let it go. And if this person doesn't make it possible for you to still be able to have some sort of healthy level of a relationship with them, then let them go. And the quicker you can accept the reality of who you are, the quicker you can accept the reality of who others are as well. Because all awareness starts within ourselves. And the version of me that was in those relationships was not accepting the reality of who I am. Even in the best ways possible, like I am a really powerful alchemist. I am called. Okay, I am all these things, and I still when the version of me in those relationships wasn't even willing to see that I didn't have to put up with those things, that I didn't have to lower my boundaries or shrink myself in any kind of way to squeeze people in my life that can't fit in the first place. Among a shitload of more things that I learned about me that I already wrote down, and I've been doing a lot of inner work. So take a moment and really get to work on accepting yourself for who you truly are, and getting good at pattern recognition, even within yourself and your own patterns. And you'll be able to easily start picking up on these things with other people. Apply discernment. Gain the wisdom and the lessons from the hard decisions that have to be made in order for you to put yourself in alignment with who you really are and what's best for you. And walk with that wisdom. Walk with that wisdom and make decisions that truly continue to reflect more and more that you love yourself and that you're learning from these relationships. Like I said, we're here to learn. I know this video is really long, but look, we're here to learn. If you're not already subscribed, feel free to subscribe. I just continue to share, which I have a whole lot to share. I have a whole lot that I've been learning, especially in hermit mode. All those times where I wasn't making videos for a while, I was experiencing and learning and extracting wisdom. So subscribe. Feel free to share your experiences in the comments. I love hearing about your journeys as well. And hopefully we can grow together. Much love.